Welcome back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-host Josh.
And today we are reviewing The Iron Claw, which is an A24 film, one that Blake and I have had plenty of hits. I won't even say plenty of hits, plenty of misses with. And so it's always a risk when we're watching A24, but I will say they always give you a fun theater moment at least once throughout their films. And so we decided to go see it. And just a quick spoiler alert, we thought it was a hit, and we'll tell you why. Blake, go into it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Josh and I, we, like you said, A24 is, very hit or miss. Personally, I believe that they put out one good movie and then proceed to put out about 8 to 9 terrible movies. And so now I know for sure that their next 8 to 9 are all going to be skips because this was the hit. This movie was obviously the Iron Claws following, if you saw the movie, you know what it's about, the wrestling family. Zac Efron gave a phenomenal performance as the lead in this movie. Jeremy Allen White was one of his brothers who turned in a really good performance. I don't know the dad's name, the actor's name, but he was.
I know his first name's Holt something, but he was, in my opinion, I think he was the best because I always think it's hard to nail the kind of family extra member. You're just the extra side cast character. A lot of times those either get poorly written or poorly performed. But I mean, there's at least one scene where it was a no-cut 3 to 5 minute scene on the dad, and he just perfectly nails his whole speech while in the arena. So he, in my opinion, he stole the show when it came to the film. But yeah, as you can continue, all the rest of the actors, the acting was phenomenal.
Right. I don't remember. I can't think of the girl's name right now. That's going to kill me. That wasn't...
what, the mom or the girlfriend?
The girlfriend.
Yeah. I
turned wife. Pam. I don't think it was Lily Rose Depp.
I've seen her before, and she's great too.
Yeah. But all of them turning great performances. And like Josh talked about, just the directing and cinematography and everything of it, there was several tracking shots of just a solid no cut following through different moments of this movie, and they were really, really well done. Unlike 1970, 1917 is known for being all one shot, and it sucked because I don't need to watch somebody ride a horse for 7 minutes. This is stupid. Or walk through the woods for 8 minutes, whatever. This was really well done. That comes out
cuts definitely added actually to the scene.
Right.
It wasn't just
they did one of
this is cool.
Yeah. They did one of people going into one of the arenas before one of the wrestling matches, and it was just, you actually got a feel of the crowd, and it was following people, and it just go to different groups. It's not like you were following a specific person. It was just random extras essentially. And it kind of just helped set the tone for what the atmosphere was going into this big wrestling match, and put you into this as this is 70s 80s. It kind of goes into both of those decades a little bit. And it kind of just puts you into the mindset of understanding how big wrestling was, and in Texas these people made it a whole big event, and it was just really well done. I thought all around there's several good shots, and the wrestling was phenomenal in this. Throughout, you could tell that these actors actually were using the real kind of gear. It wasn't foam pads or anything anywhere. When you hit the mat, they hit the mat. So I thought the wrestling in this was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest props to this movie. Is I think the worst part about normally sports films is the actual sports aspect of it. And you don't have to worry one moment. There's not a single scene that will take you out of the element of the actual sports taking place. So for that being in an A24 film, that's definitely impressive. A lot of times it's normally the higher budget films that do that right, and it's the lower budget, not as well known, as well advertised films that really flop on that, and it takes you out of that element, and you kind of just have to give them the benefit of doubt. But I would definitely say, to add on to it, the fact that the actors were definitely shredded helped with the scene, especially when it comes to the third brother, Mike. Technically, I guess fourth brother in that element. Him being kind of more scrawny helped allude to what his future was going to be in the film, not to spoil, but helped kind of tell his story that he wasn't as built and roided out as the other guys. And it did seem like they even alluded to the fact that they did a quick scene like they were taking some drugs definitely after one. So I thought that was nice. I think another thing is that's really hard with these kind of films when it's definitely based on a true story is pacing. And the pacing throughout was very well done. I think there was only one moment where it's kind of like, okay, where is it going now from here? And you really don't feel that until at the end of like 3/4 way into the movie. And then it brings you back in real quick. So it's very small. I was throughout the entire film entertained. All the characters, their stories, just learning about it. This film is a great sports film in the fact that sports and non-sports fans could easily enjoy this film. It's a great story about just humans and their lives, as well as it's a great story about athletes and the differences that they had to experience. So it was great. And I know a lot of people, we already mentioned that acting was phenomenal, but Zac Efron, I thought going into this would be distracting. One, that it's Zac Efron, as well as I know his face is kind of slightly different looking. He wasn't distracting one bit. Even his voice acting, he changed his voice. That was well done. So props to him. It was a great film.
The accents across the board were well done to get that Texas
100%.
Kind of, they did a good job with that. But yeah, like you said, first time seeing Zac Efron, I was like, okay, come on. I forgot. I love Zac Efron. I'm a big fan of his. A lot of his movies I like. But his face, I was like, man, that looks a little rough, Zach. What are we doing? But once I got over that, like you said, he was phenomenal in this movie. He was absolutely shredded, like nuts. But yeah, I thought, like you said, this movie is for anybody. You can watch, even if you're not like a wrestling, and obviously this is more like the WWE, WWF type wrestling, not like the actual like singlets, on a mat wrestling. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, I think you can definitely appreciate this movie. It's very, very sad in the end, as it goes through their lives. This isn't just like this is an uplifting, like, oh, look at them rise to the top, coming of age movie. This is a more of a tragedy, and kind of just shows you like the darkness that can be within, the sports world and that kind of thing, which I thought was really well done. Like you said, like it didn't take me out of it, this movie. It's not necessarily too long. I think it's around 212.
It's only 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's right around there. And like you said, you don't feel that. I mean, 212 is a pretty short movie in today's, for the most part, besides like obviously kids movies. But yeah, this was rated R, which I thought was kind of interesting. It doesn't really feel rated R too much to me. I can't think of.
Yeah, it's more just kind of the topics I'd say that it covers.
Right.
But for an A24 rated R film, there's not a single scene that's too much at all.
Right.
So that is a huge thing to overcome.
Yeah, that's nice when you have an A24 movie that it has a couple sexual type scenes that actually fit what's going on and aren't forced and aren't weird.
And it does not last and doesn't even do anything over the top.
And it actually, builds on the story. It's not like, hey, here's a random thing because we want to do it. So that's always nice. Good to see that out of this one. Like you said, I mean, personally, as somebody who grew up, I watched a lot of WWE. Me and my brother watched it. I gotta say, I have one the main issue with this is they have a couple, nods to real, wrestlers from that time, and one of them is Ric Flair. Boy, the guy who has, like I said, this is a very small, he's maybe 5 minutes of the movie at most. The guy who plays Ric Flair, obviously he doesn't look exactly like him, which is whatever, I can get over that. I don't know if that guy knows who Ric Flair is, because his accent and delivery of Rick was horrible. So that was the worst part of the movie to me. Like I said, this was about 5 minutes, but I don't think that guy has any idea who Ric Flair was, even though he was in the WWE world, and even still today drops in time to time. For as long as he was and as legendary as he is, that was my biggest issue with this movie.
Yeah, and it's just a small part, and even many people already agreeing with us in the fact that it's being reviewed quite well. So I think this is an easy movie to recommend to people. I think majority of any audience would enjoy this film. I mean, it has an 88 for just critic reviews, and then it's 92 for audience. So I kind of do suspect that this film could reach a chance in the Oscar talk, because It's good. It's A24. I'm not thinking off the top of my head of anything else A24 related that will be worthwhile, because we think the next one's going to be a miss. So Civil War, I think that's going to be a miss, a big flop for them.
Yeah.
But this is their hit, definitely, for their released movies.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, is anybody going to win? Doubt it, but I definitely think couple nods should be given to supporting actor for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was really well done. The writing was good. But overall, I mean, yeah, like Josh said, this is definitely one recommend to people to see. Especially like we said, if you go in thinking it's a coming of age movie, that might be a little tough. You're going to be in for a big of a shock, as this is
Mm-hmm.
not a coming of age for the most part. But I think it's a really good storytelling of the dangers of just kind of that world and family and stuff, which I thought was interesting. They did a good job of touching on some darker, deeper things, and did it in a good way. And overall, I really enjoyed this film. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I definitely think this one came. We have a series, talking about the movies. This one definitely could have been in consideration for that Randy Orton RKO movie, but I knew a little bit more
Really
about it,
good
and I
one.
was more excited to see it. It didn't completely come out of nowhere for me. Um, but I definitely think this exceeded, going into it, it exceeded my expectations, which I was definitely happy with.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd say I'd give it like an 8.8 out of 10. I could easily see myself rewatching this sometime again in the future, just because it's good, well shot. Even with the fact the endings of it, it's just that well put of a movie that you can enjoy it again.
Yeah. So Iron Claw, like we said, most likely, if you've made it this far, you watched the movie. So let us know in the comments down below what are your thoughts on Iron Claw. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.